You are listening to Robert Fain's podcast. Welcome.
Hegel's description of state and wealth as two objectified powers that arise from human freedom and then turn back against the human being reads like a diagnosis of a society that no longer understands itself. Hegel shows how the human being hands over his own spiritual energy, first to the state, which appears as an elevated, almost sacred power above him, then to wealth, which as an everyday yet universal power organizes his desires and his labor. Both are products of human activity, yet both appear as forces that dominate the human being. Hegel states, "The state is the solidified form of collective will, but is experienced as an unchangeable authority. Wealth is the result of labor, but is experienced as an anonymous force that generates desires and dictates forms of life." He continues, "Thus then, in these two spiritual powers, self-consciousness finds its own substance, content, and purpose. It has there a direct intuitive consciousness of its twofold nature. In one, it sees what it is inherently in itself, in the other, what it is explicitly for itself. In this tension between state and wealth, a society emerges that constantly contradicts itself. The state promises order, identity, and universality. Wealth promises freedom, enjoyment, and individuality. But both promises are illusions, for both powers are merely different forms of the same alienation. The human being no longer recognizes himself in what he has produced. He lives in a world he has made, but that no longer belongs to him. The state appears as a lofty power that supports him but also disciplines him. Wealth appears as a source of freedom, but binds him to consumption, labor, and desire. The human being is thus tossed back and forth between two powers that need each other and yet oppose each other, the state that wants order and wealth that produces restlessness. This estrangement, however, takes place in language, in words alone, and language assumes here its peculiar role. Hegel adds a third power to this dialectic: language. In a healthy society, language is the bearer of laws, agreements, and shared meaning. But in an alienated society, language itself becomes a power. It is no longer the form of a content, but becomes the content itself. An utterance gains authority not because it is true, but because it is spoken. Language becomes performative. It creates reality through its own force. It becomes, as Jacques Ellul would later say, propaganda, not as a lie, but as a form of speech that no longer refers to a reality outside itself, but produces a reality carried by its own rhythm. The person who speaks becomes a spark that ignites a collective consciousness. The I that expresses itself becomes an infection that spreads, a force that sweeps others along into a shared, but not necessarily shared, reality. In such a world, the human being becomes alienated not only from his own products, but also from his own voice. The state speaks in the language of order and security. Wealth speaks in the language of desire and success. Propaganda speaks in the language of immediate identification. The human being is addressed, shaped, mobilized. He is no longer invited to reflect, but to react. The language that reaches him is no longer a medium of truth, but an instrument of power. It creates a we and a they, a friend and an enemy, an inside and an outside. It forms a reality that no longer needs to be shared in order to be effective. It only needs to be believed. When you apply this framework to the United States under Trump, a strikingly clear picture emerges. The state often appears there as a power no longer experienced as the collective work of citizens, but as an instrument of struggle, identity, and protection. Wealth appears as the ultimate measure of value, as the source of freedom and success, but also as a force that produces deep inequality and creates dependency. And language, especially political language, functions more and more as Hegel and Ellul describe it, not as communication, but as performative force. The utterance itself becomes reality. The speaker becomes a center of identification. Language becomes a weapon that does not persuade but mobilizes. In these three powers, state, wealth, and language, a society emerges that continually reproduces itself in a state of tension. The state needs wealth to maintain its effectiveness. Wealth needs the state to guarantee its influence. Language needs both to sustain its performative power. The human being who lives in this society is constantly addressed, shaped, mobilized. He is no longer seen as a citizen, but as a carrier of identity, and aliens need to be expelled. No longer as a worker, but as a consumer and a voter. No longer as a speaker, but as an echo. Hegel's analysis is therefore not a historical curiosity, but a mirror. It shows how modern societies lose themselves in the objectifications of their own freedom. It shows how power and wealth reinforce and oppose each other, how language becomes power, and how the human being loses himself in the world he has produced. And it shows that alienation does not begin in the economy or in politics, but in the way we speak, listen, and recognize ourselves in the words that shape us.
Das Wort